Welcome, Diana. I am very, very happy to have you here today to learn more about your story, and thank you so much for willing to share. Can you talk about your diagnosis? When was it, and how long you have MS?
Hi, Agatha. Thank you for having me. It's such a pleasure to be sharing my story with you. Um, I was diagnosed in 2018. I was diagnosed in Montefiore, New York. Um, when I was diagnosed, it was a lot of damage in my brain. The neurologist explained to me that apparently I had a mess for a while, but I didn't know that I had it. So a lot of my mailing was already consumed. I remember then realizing what was the symptoms, thinking back and like, when was my first time that I felt some type of symptom? And the first thing I remember is I was in a job interview when I was 22, and it was an engineer in front of with like some engineers and some very important people, and I remember feeling very like, okay, I'm here, I'm important too. And everything went well, I spoke well, everything was well. And at the end of the interview, the engineers got up and shook my hand, but my feet and my legs were completely numb. And I remember getting up and falling in this guy because my legs were numb. Like I couldn't stand up. And he was trying kind of like lift me, and my legs were just numb. I had to sit in the floor and kind of wait until my legs react, and then they helped me sit in a chair. And that was the end of the interview.
Did you go to see a doctor after this interview?
No, in that moment, it was the embarrassment. I didn't really think about it as connected to anything else. I remember thinking maybe I was so tired and I was sitting so, with my leg crossed and like very formal, that made me, I didn't really think into it.
You were also probably very nervous, unknowingly going to this interview, and then your body was like, okay, we are done now.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yes. And that made me realize that, recounting all the events where I flare up, and my MS was very aggressive. I was progressing very fast. All of the sudden, I was at work, and my ex-husband freaked out and took me to the hospital because I was like completely numb, where he will pinch me and like poke me and be like, no, you're not feeling it. Like it's not happening. So he took me to a hospital. And then was when the diagnosis started. And from then, I lost the ability to speak. My vision was completely blurry. My legs were completely numb. The right side of my body, my face was just like, like, and it was all, they will be like, oh, there's another million, another MRI, just be in the hospital. And I just went down the rabbit hole.
You mentioned it before we started recording that you actually find my Instagram account in one of the time you visited the hospital.
Yes, actually, it was the first time I was diagnosed. I was diagnosed in 2018, and my nurse recommended me to go on Instagram and find people that had MS. Back then, I was not on Instagram and always been a knowledge seeker and a nutritionist. I also have a food science degree. So I never had time for social media. I will post pictures on Facebook for my family in Colombia, and that will be it. And I went on Instagram and I saw you and going and sharing your story and your journey with MS. And I was like, oh, wait, I'm not the only one, and this is like a possibility of living with a disease. I remember back then you were sharing living with MS, like what is it to live with MS? Like I wake up and my legs are numb. And I was like, mine too. Like, you know, it was very interesting connecting and like seeing the process of the illness.
Yes, I feel when I think about that period of my life, I feel like I was very lucky to be diagnosed in 2019 when there was social media and there were so many books out there, and you were not only getting one side of the story from the doctor's office, but also seeing other people, how are they doing with this disease, like Dr. Walsh and Matt Embry. Like
Yes.
I was lucky in a way.
You know, I've been in the medical field for a long time. I volunteer in the Red Cross, and multiple sclerosis was one of the things that people will think sclerosis. Oh, it's the one with the bones. It's like it's the one that your bones hurt, and I was like, no, my brain.
It has nothing to do with my bones yet, but that's good. So tell me about the medical field. Like, what did you change after your diagnosis?
Ah, so it is very funny, Agatha, because I was born in Colombia. My grandmother was a herbalist. So I grew with this background.
I just got chills that you said that. I don't know why, but I'm sure the answer gonna come to me.
Yeah, it will. So I grew up with this, where my grandmother is explaining to me the herbs. We are virgin herbs in the forest. We are doing all of this process that keep me in this bubble of health. When I become an orphan at the age of 11, I become an orphan at the age of 11, my process started to be alone and to self-sabotage. What can it do, a girl of 11 years around in the streets by herself? So only imagine the things that I could have been exposed to. So all of this created a self-harm. Self-harm, other people harm me. At the age of 13, I joined the Red Cross. It was a contractor team. We will travel first assistant to different places. They will take teenagers in to volunteer. So I go to many countries. I went to Haiti. I went to Iraq. I went to uh, to India. So all of these things is in my mind, and I am continue living and moving on without knowing what is happening with me. Right. So later on, I realized that I came back, became a mother. I calmed my life down. I was trying to get jobs, and my body started to show me symptoms. But back then, it was not an option to go to a hospital and like put myself in that journey. I was a mother. I was coming back from war. Like, I'm strong. I got this. So I kept moving until my body say no more. And when my body say no more, I was at the peak of the worst of self damage of any human can do. When you are in relationships that it doesn't serve you, when you are surrounded environments that doesn't serve you, when you are eating the things that you know are not aligned with your body. And I get sick, I go to the hospital to go into traditional medicine, which is not my, because though I work for the Red Cross, I became a nutritionist. I teach people that food is health. And all of the settings, my body cracked. It was no healthy diet was helping me. There was no about keto. I tried Dr. Walls and the 38 vegetables for 3 years. Like, I would literally get the 38 vegetables and grow them myself and do the whole drama around it. Like, it was this obsession with eating healthy that why am I sick? And I was going to the hospital. I had to take gabapentin. At some point, it was 3,000, 300, 300, 300, 3 times a day. They just keep putting the doses up. I will inject myself. It didn't work. The worst pills I take, it was Ocifera. Oh,
Taxif Tecfidera.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, those were the worst. My body completely lost. I went then and diagnosed with colitis, and then my colon started failing. And then another type of illnesses came to play a role into my life. I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis, and I pull out actually the record of the NYU of diagnosis. And then it was multiple sclerosis, colitis, um, abscess, on top of that, cancer in the cervix, and all of these things with chain reactions. And there's depression. It was my eye used to twit. It was amazing what my body was trying to tell me. Um, I it was just, oh, I just had a moment of like being grateful for like this body, and the second that we are landed and we are so connected to ourselves. Wow. I'm sorry.
No, no, it's so interesting how it comes as an awakening in most cases. A diagnosis like this, it was for me at least. I feel like
Yes.
I discovered a part of myself and part of life that I never knew it's there. Like I didn't read the right books. I didn't watch the right movies. I feel like up until recently,
Yeah.
I didn't hear the right stories, you know?
Yes. We didn't know that what we hear, what we see, what we eat, what we breathe, everything influence our health.
So where did you start your healing journey after all this?
My healing journey, I guess, started without knowing. I tried things just out of curiosity. I like to know. I like to know the depth of things. I started considering the idea that was something to do with the mind. And I started with neuroscience, investigating how the brain is connected. Why is my brain failing me? Why am I not remembering things? Why is my brain not telling my arm to move? And this curiosity took me to take classes and connect to classes in Harvard, and get different coachings and neuroscience from University of Atlanta, and really connecting with this research, just asking questions, investigating. I find out that every time it was a pattern. Diana's stress, Dahiana is taking care of others more than her body give warnings. Oh, here we are. And what is not that? The other part is the things that I actually already damaged. The times that I didn't eat well, I didn't do the right thing, I didn't hear the right thing, I didn't listen to the right movie. And that got codified in my brain and created some belief that took my body to believe that I was going to be sick forever. Uh, all of those things was playing a role in how I was behaving and how my body was behaving. And it was this war, right? Because this strong me was like, oh, I had to use a wheelchair. I remember one of the doctors told me, you have to be grateful you're walking. You only need a walker and crutches. My legs were completely gone. Like I will just push them in the floor. And it was this part of me that said, I will never sit in a wheelchair. I am walking. And it was this part of me that my legs doesn't work and my brain doesn't send the signals to my legs. It's like these two parts that I need to meet. And I put everything in the table, and I was like, okay, I at this point I was not gonna heal. I try Ocrevus, and Ocrevus give me instant feeling good moments and then really strong crashes. And because of Ocrevus, one of the side effects is cancer. I was one of the persons that got cancer with Ocrevus. I got an abscess in the side of my pelvis, and it just grew. So I just wanted to have a good life. I just wanted to have to not take pills. I just wanted to have to be able to play with my young girl. And that is all what I was focused on.
How old was your girl at that time?
My daughter was 3 years, and she knew mommy was sick. And at this time, she used to help mommy walk. And, don't bother mommy. Mommy cannot do this.
Mm.
It was the cutest. So, yeah, I just needed to play this role. And I did. Past the time to answer your question about when my healing journey started. My healing journey started in the moment that I got it sicker and sicker and sicker. Because in those moments, I went deep into my memories, and I was realizing so much. I was disconnected from my soul, from my ancestors, from my roots, from my knowledge. Oh my God, what did I do?
That's so amazing that you were able to tap into that, because I feel like most people, including me, when I'm sick, I can't think. I am in a panic mode. I'm trying to figure out what to do, but in the same time, I forget everything. But this is such a great advice to kind of slow down and think of what caused it and what go back and look into. That's
Yes. I think that was the thing that I really, actually, I wrote my book. The beginning of it is that process of me feeling so much pain that I will go back and be like, when did I did this? Why is my brain doing what part of my brain am I disconnecting from unconsciously that is becoming a reality physically? So unconsciously, I don't want to remember the pain or the trauma. Then physically, my body's like, oh, but she don't want to remember. Let's not connect to that part of the brain. Is only by natural that our perfect mechanical system that is our body do that. And realizing that, I went back and I was like, what is it that I don't want to remember? Wait, I'm not scared anymore. Let me see, you know. And I think that going at it without fear, it was the most difficult thing, because in those moments you don't know what you feel, right? It's between all of it, but is to really connect to, this is going to happen anyway. So I might as well enjoy the ride and see what I see.
and once you figured it out, what happened next? Were you able to just deal with accepting it and from there moving on, or
Yeah, so I think it was a process. I think I call it PACA. First, it was giving myself permission. I needed to give myself permission to see this, because sometimes these things are so hidden, so cutting, so deep into our brain that we ourselves deny the ability. What do you mean? I'm healthy. I do Dr. Was protocol. I do all of these things. I'm a nutritionist. Like, for God's sake, like, I know what you're talking about. That used to be my answer. Other people, I remember sitting in chemotherapy one time, and a lady told me, "Have you tried yoga? It's really good for people." And I was like, "You think I can put my head down? You like, I will die. What are you talking about, lady?" It was it was the process of giving myself permission to recognize my challenges, my fears, my limits, and honoring that moment. And then I was acknowledging everything. People used to tell me, save your energy. And I was like, no, it's like I have it right now. I gotta use it. Like, give it to me. Just let me use it. And it is just acknowledging the moment that I was. And then next, it hit me. I needed to be curious. I was so curious because just by accepting and acknowledging, I went in remission. I was able to run again. Like, run was out of the picture. Walking in the park with the dog, forget it. Coco will pull me. And so that was already a win. Just by giving myself permission of recognizing like what I was in that moment, what was affecting me, how I was feeling. And then I start walking and I start speaking more. I start thinking about working again. Oh, I feel good. And all of a sudden it was a flare. In that moment, I was realizing that it was connected to a stress. Then I went back into my practice of Zen. I used to practice Buddhism and I used to try to be a Zen. And back then, life was very chaotic. But this was the perfect moment. So I went back into my practice. And I realized that all of the setting, I was feeling better. I didn't need steroids as often. The steroids was a huge thing for me because I would retain water. So I was weighing 240 pounds. And my body is very petite. So it was kind of like I was a water balloon full of water. And I started realizing that all of this water is just wearing off. And I was curious. Okay, wait, what was it that made me feel better? Was it the protocol? Was it the herbs? Was it that I am walking again? I'm just curious. And then I started doing that research and I started investigating what was it that I was affecting my body before. And all of this, I tied it out with appreciation of everything that's around me, the Instagram, the people, the good, the bad. I was married back then with a very toxic relationship. But today I'm grateful because I appreciate the fact that he never pampered me or took care of me. Or actually, I used to fall down and he used to tell me, get up. And I used to cry and he used to tell me, like, why are you doing this to me? Don't you see my legs are numb? And he used to be like, well, I'm just making you stronger. And though I didn't understand it in that moment, and of course it was not good, I divorced him. Of course I did.
I was about to say yes.
But today I appreciate that he was that in that moment because I hear stories of people that it takes them 10 years
Yeah,
to figure this out.
it's so fascinating for me to hear how everybody's approaching all this mindset and all these mindful practices differently. Like for me, it wouldn't be appreciation for sure. At that time, I would probably kill that person. But now I would just do a forgiving kind of, forgive him for being, because he didn't know better. Maybe that was his way of, I don't know, that's how he was raised or something that he was bringing from his previous life. But it's fascinating for me to see and learn from everybody I interview. Is like there are different ways that we can do this, and not one way fits all, and not one diet fits all, and not one way of teaching how to rewire your mind fits all. Like you have to find your own way.
Absolutely. And that is what I actually teach now because based on my research, which is still continuing, I'm traveling all around the world, finding different people with autoimmune disease and finding the connection back, the root of the moment where you disconnected from your body, that your body received the signal and as obedient as perfect as our bodies are, that's the right thing, which is disconnect from your brain or from that part of your body or from your eyes or from your mouth, from wherever it is that you're running from. So now, basically, what I actually want to help the people do is to understand that it's not one way, that it is about what is my journey. Yes, it is a stress. If we generalize it, sure, it is the disconnection of the body and the soul and the mind. And we need to come back to integrate all of three together. But how we do it is unique to each individual. Like, there is not a one thing that you can do. I remember eating a lot of greens for a season and I got so sick. My hands became yellow. And I was like, but I'm doing the detox with the 14 days of the celery juice. And in that time, my mess was progressing so much that I was going to the doctor every month. Every month, I was going to the doctor. I mean, and just 1 month of this diet, I went back to Emma, I was my neurologist, and she's like, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on with you? Like, what's happening? Your liver is failing. What are you doing? And I was like, the green diet, like I'm just drinking celery juice. Like, and my body just didn't have the understanding. And it doesn't mean this diet is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying not to drink celery juice. I'm not saying not to do these things. What I'm saying is that before we do anything, we really need to come back and get out of this desperation mode to feel better and really just ask ourselves, why am I feeling like this? What is it that I need? Because for every person, though we have the same illness, and we can actually generalize it because now we give them names, but an autoimmune disease is just a full, complete disconnection of our senses. And every autoimmune disease takes us to not be in control of our own body. And that's all. So if we really look at it, we realize that, listen, each person got to this point in a different way. Your trauma is different than my trauma. Your pain was different than my pain. Your generational blood, or it could be even your grandmother. Now, one time I met a lady that told me, I am so sick. I'm so sick with MS. Please help me. How do you do it? And I was like, tell me about you. She had the perfect life, the perfect childhood, the perfect family, but her mom had MS. I was like, okay, so tell me your mom's life. Oh, my mom didn't have a perfect childhood. My mom didn't have a perfect life. And my mom was also sick, but she didn't know. And we think that she had MS. And I'm like, you are healing yourself. You're healing through your mom. And it was completely different than mine. Of course, I have all of this history of trauma, and an orphan and Colombian, blah, 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 blah. Of course, I got a mess. But this person didn't have that. And it's just a completely different approach because it's not hers. It's just her repairing generational damage through her body. And it goes so deep that what we really need to create is the awareness that we need to respect our unique journey, to honor where we are and what we need, where it takes us.
Yes. I've been listening and reading a lot of books about spirituality, and it most of them talks about how we are here to either learn from someone or teach someone, but there are lessons throughout our lives that we have to learn, and we better complete the lessons because otherwise they're gonna keep repeating themselves in the next life.
Yeah.
And in this case, generation down generation. So you have to be the one who heals, and then hopefully it's not gonna go through the next generation.
Yeah. Yeah. And to add to that, and not only we have this too, but when we not only goes to the next life, it's not like, okay, so the next life you're gonna learn, or your kid is gonna go in generation. No, it's not only that. Also, when we do not serve our purpose, either to teach or to learn the lesson of the experience, it becomes a trauma. And that trauma or that karma or whatever different cultures call it becomes something physical, immaterialized. And that is what creates the illnesses in our body. So it's, we are such a interconnected beings. We're connected to this earth with our body because we are biologically created, but we are connected to the universe with our soul. Our soul can travel to the cosmos, but our mind is a recording machine. It's all what it does, record and send functions. It's like a big computer. And because of that, is the center of the connection of everything we are. So we are connected to everything around us. And when we understand this and we honor this, we honor the fact that everything we do, everything we say has an impact in ourselves and in others. So it's important to actually realize that integrating all, and like, it's not about health or wellness or spirituality or a particular, dharma or karma. Or believe me, I went to India, I went to Japan, and I went to China. Like, I have looked at it. I know Chinese medicine, I study Ayurveda. Like, it's not one thing. It is not, you're not going to find, or maybe you're so lucky. I met one time one lady, she say, I went into Ayurveda, I changed my life. She has a great life and it worked for her. It didn't work for me. And I studied it to the T. So it is about finding the root, finding what serves you.
And you believe that finding your purpose throughout these lessons, that's where you're gonna find healing?
I do. I do. Thank you. You were really listening. I actually believe that doing all of these things together, it actually, the result of it is just finding your purpose. And when you live in purpose, it surprised me. Things happens magically. Yesterday I had a very busy day. I provide ceremonies now, and I do healing circles where I talk about healing, and I help people to come with autoimmune disease or just regular stress, whatever it is that they're feeling in their life, just to come and have this moment where they integrate everything that they are, where they feel their body, where they know what is the pain, where they connect to the different parts of themselves. And I go back to back. And yesterday, I don't know what happened, but I ended being double booked. somebody asked me, can you come? And I said, sure, I go. And then I had to go somewhere else. And I was like, wait, whoa, 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 I don't do this. And at the end, I told my partner, I'm going to go to this thing, but I am going to honor my time. At 8:30, I'm going to go because I don't want to crash my body. You know, this is my boundary. And I get there and I took the thing, and it was so magical. It was so empowering. It was serving my purpose. I ended leaving at 10:30 p.m. and I had great connections, made amazing people, and I came back feeling great. And I'm like, I feel so good. And he was like, you're not tired? You had like back to back from 5 a.m. You're like, and I'm like, out. I'm not tired. Like I'm just feeling so well. And this is it. Like I feel well every day. I used to have good days and bad days. I used to get on Instagram and say, good day, bad day, good day, bad day. It is no more bad days. And how do I know that I'm not just in remission and that I actually discover that the path to optimum health, or that I am discovering that the path to optimum health is the integration of all and finding your unique purpose and serving it, is because MS is still there. There is certain things that I went for MRI and they discover that my myelin is coming back. This is supposed to be impossible, but actually it is restoring. Like the last MRI I had was a year ago, and she was like if I didn't had record of your MRIs, I will hardly say that you had MS. And I was like, wait, what? I thought the mailing it doesn't recover. And she was like, look at the old scars of the MS and look at the new myelin on top. And I was like, wow. Like I heard so many neurologists tell me that once it was gone, it was gone.
Yeah, that's what I've been told too. But are you talking about lesions or you can?
Yeah, delicious. So when you see it, you see my lesions and then you see them covering again. And I'm like, it's fascinating. It's fascinating to see the difference. It's fascinating to see the changes on my body. It's fascinating to see my energy, to feel healthy, to I felt like I was a 45-year-old woman 5 years ago. Like it is a complete different feeling to honor optimum health. Like now slightly calm, tingling. And it's kind of like a reminder, like if in my memory, remember what it felt like. And I'm like, wait, am I actually feeling this? It is not. And it's just like, I can only be grateful and be appreciative of it and serve by sharing the message, and to actually there is a possibility of regenerating your body. Whatever it is a possibility to restoring. It's a possibility to coming back into a balance where you realize that your body just was asking you for something, or letting you know something, or warning you, or insulting you even.
Mm, I believe everything you shared. Do you want to share more details about the ceremonies that you are hosting? I'm very curious about those.
Well, in the journey, uh, in my journey of life, back in the day, I served with the Jahe communities as a guardian. And I stepped out of that, coming to the United States, became a nutritionist, a chef. and follow a different path, disconnecting myself from my roots and coming back into my healing. A lot of it was coming into ceremony, grounding myself. I provide cacao ceremonies. I also provide plant medicine and an ordained minister. So I certify myself to be able to legally provide plant medicine. And yeah, so I serve these ceremonies, and in ceremony, we go to full integration. I also work with something is called Zen body work, which allows you to remove the trauma specifically. And if any nerves or any blockages in your body has come over the time, we will actually physically remove them of your body, and you will have a full interconnection of your mind, your soul, and your body. And the journey is yours to see whatever or to feel whatever it is that your body been trying to tell you, because it's so loud out there, Agatha. It's so many vibrations. The phones, the computers, the electricity, the interconnection of the smart homes, it is really hard to listen into our bodies. I don't even blame people for being disconnected. It is hard to listen what our body needs when it's so many vibrations. So our body only choice is to get louder and louder and louder. And that is what we feel. We just need to find that quiet place to really find out what is why the root of the problem. How am I going to heal something I don't even know when or why it happened?
I hear so many people saying that they don't know how to meditate, they don't know how, but it's not that they don't know how to meditate, and it's they don't know how to quiet their mind, and that's what's.
You know, that's actually the big misconception that have run people away from meditating, because being in quiet is very scary. So anything that scares us, our body and our mind is designed to keep us safe. So what happens next is that when we feel scared, we tend to crowd ourselves with different thoughts. But in between all of that chaos, there is actually truth. It's kind of like when you're a mom, kind of like when you are little kids telling us, no, mommy, what really happened? It fall down. I broke it. You know, like it is that. So learning first to listen to all our thoughts, to listen, what is it that I'm thinking about?
Yeah.
And
It's
you,
almost like an outsider. You have to listen to your own mind. Like you're not in there. You are out here and you're listening. What's the next big thing I'm trying to think about, which has no meaning at all, but
yes, and really, really look at ourselves as what we are. Our mind is not in control. It's just guiding us, telling us, it's keeping us safe. It remember when you fall down, that way you don't fall down again. It remember when somebody hurts you, that way you don't trust them anymore. You know, it's just that. So it's important that we stop trying to meditate as everybody make it sound. It's, it is unique. Just slowing down to ask yourself three questions. What am I thinking about? Until the point where you start seeing your thoughts and like, why am I thinking about that? Why am I thinking about what that person is going to say? Why am I thinking about what somebody else is going to think? And then, how am I feeling? How am I feeling? How are my leg feeling? How is my body? You know, what got stuck from yesterday? Simply ask yourself, how are you feeling? And then, last but not least, what do I need? What do I want? What I desire, whatever it is, whatever, why am I desiring that? I realized that I used to have a problem because I used to be very strict with diets. And I was being a pescatarian in that time. I was being a strict pescatarian, but all of a sudden I was very upset and cranky, and I was desiring to eat just burger. I wanted a burger. I wanted a piece of meat, but I'm a pescatarian. I'm never gonna eat that, you know. And then, of course, somebody will pass by with like meat or something, or so I will pass and see, and I'm like, why such shame on myself? How am I gonna? Why my mind is thinking about burgers? Oh, so mine's doing that. And I used to have techniques of rub bands to release the anxiety of the desire of the burger. Oh my God, that was such a bad girl, me wanting a burger. Then now, when I listen to my body, I realize that every time, 3 days before my period or 3 days after, I desire meat. I desire iron. Like, oh, why am I desiring meat? Oh, I need iron. Um, I need iron. I just bled or I'm going to bleed and my body needs it. I'm not a bad girl because I wanted a burger. It's just that my mind remembered that burgers give her iron. So she's giving me this crazy desire of burger because she remembered that one time the body got iron for this burger. That was really good. So now this is what we know. And then I'm shaming myself and creating another problems and retentions and restrictions, telling my body he's wrong for telling me he needs iron. But he's not wrong for telling me he needs iron. It's what he needs.
Yeah.
So if you ask this question, there is no anxiety, because anxiety is just the uncontrollable desire of something. So if we ask ourselves, why am I desiring? What do I want? Then, and maybe it's not good, you know, maybe somebody tell me, oh, what about if all what I want is wine? And I was like, why do you want wine? What is it in the wine? What is it? Is it the feeling, the numbness? Is it the relaxation? Is it the endorphins? What is it that you're looking in this wine? You know, it's really honoring this. And then you realize that the depression is gone. You're listening to your body. Maybe you just need to slow down, and that's why your body has been telling you all along. So that moment, it really transformed our lives.
Very, 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 very interesting. Thank you for sharing all this.
Thank you.
Mhm. Would you tell somebody newly diagnosed?
I will say be grateful.
I understand what you mean, but can you please tell them how to be grateful? I do get it now, 6 years later, but if they would hear you saying that, they would probably like stop watching everything that's coming after this video.
No, I just needed to let them sink in. Um, why to be grateful? Because in the moment that our body, I see it, I see ourselves as ghosts. You know, ghost is this illusion of something that come. But I don't know if you watch scary movies, and sometimes the ghost becomes stronger, and all of the settings, the ghost can close the doors, or the ghost can move things in the house. The ghost is a presence. That is our bodies. Our bodies get to become louder. You suppress it, you heard it, you didn't hear your body. Maybe you didn't listen. And whatever is your case, whatever is your story, you know, all of us come to be diagnosed in a different way, right? Different moments of our lives. Whatever is the reason, sometimes it's kids, you know, young people that has no reason to be sick and they become diagnosed. Whatever it is your case, it is amazing that your body is so loud that is telling you, hey, be careful, we're sick. Hey, we're being hurt. You're not paying attention to us. And there is the time to look back, walk your past, and really see what is it? What happened? Wait, I'm going too fast. Wait, maybe I just need to rest. Some people just slows down and go to yoga and a few meditation and they all of a sudden feel better, you know? So it is about listening to our body. And in the moment that our body becomes so loud that we have to go to a hospital and we have to take an MRI to be diagnosed with something that has scared the hell out of us, that is the warning, the alert, the ring call that says, hey, I'm here. I'm here and you need to pay attention to me. So that's the reason why you have to be grateful. There is many people, believe me, I know them, that they never listen to these warnings, that they just continue pushing, that they maybe never get diagnosed, or maybe they don't have the resources, or maybe it's other countries where there is not even hospitals of multiple sclerosis, of anything that can help them. And they get these feelings and they get these symptoms and they get all of these things and they just have to keep pushing. And so many people die so young. So many people go down a spiral roles of more and more diagnosis, more and more diagnosis, because it's not only one. We start with one and then we come with more and more and more and more and more, and we don't even know what was the first one. So instead of just waiting until you have a list of 20 different diagnoses that you cannot even pronounce, then just stop and listen. Open the door. It's a call. So I am grateful my body called. I am grateful because right now I'm serving my purpose. I never been as healthy as I am right now. Never. My diagnosis is starting, like my symptoms starting when I was 22. Before 22, I had gastritis. Before that, I had ulcers. Like I've never been as healthy in my life as I am right now. So being able to say this after being so sick, after having cancer, after being a mother, after having surgeries, after having chemotherapies, after having radiations, all of these things, it is amazing. And all of that was thanks to MS. Thanks to MS, it came and gave me the hell out of a warning. Wait, what? That I'm going to have this for the rest of my life? Whoa, that was scary. That was a warning, a call, a ring, all of the alarm systems turned on in that moment. So we got to be grateful.